In this screencast, we're going to explore how to make luminosity masks. To do that, have an image open, and then go to your channels palette, and you'll see your 4 channels here, your RGB and your red, green, and blue. To make the first luminosity mask, which will be the lights, we'll just go and command click on the RGB channel. And you see you have your marching ants around that. And then what we'll do is we'll load that, or sorry, save that as a selection. So I click on that, and by default it makes an alpha 1 channel. And if you kept doing that, it'd be alpha 2, alpha 3, like that. What we want to do at this point is rename this. So I'm going to double click on this, and I'm going to call this the lights, like so. Now, that's already selected, but I'm going to deselect to show you how you would do it if you wanted to make additional masks as we go through this. So I'm going to Command D, I'm going to deselect that. I'm going to click on my lights, and I'm going to load that as a selection, so I get that back again. And I'm going to Shift, Option, Command, click on that lights mask, and you see less pixels have now been selected. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save that. And I'm going to call this the lights mask. And again, while that's selected there, I do that same thing again. Shift, Option, Command, click, and even less is there. And I'm going to save that. And I'm going to call this the bright lights, like so. And then Shift, Option, Command, click on that. Do that again, and I'll save that. And that looks the same, so I probably didn't catch it, so let me do it again. Click on that, Shift, Option, Command, click, even less now. I'll save that. I'm going to call this the super lights, like so. And I can keep going and keep doing that. And let me do one more. So that's selected. I make sure that's highlighted. Shift, Option, Command, click. Hit the wrong one. Shift. And there. Shift, Option, Command, click on that, and I'll save that. And I'll even call this the. Oops, I have that in there. This one I can throw away. I'm going to call this the Ultra. ULTRA lights. Like so. I'll go in there. Now, these are just channels, and you can see what it's doing is successfully choosing brighter and brighter areas. And again, this is a mask, so black conceals and white reveals, and grays have a varying amount. So all you need to do is, if you go back into your channels here and you look and you'd see, all right, where do I, let me deselect that. Where do I want to make a selection? What's important to me? If I want to do something to the sky right here, you can see a lot, because this is gray, a lot is going to be affected by in the foreground as well. So maybe that's not the one. Maybe I want to do something like that. So once I have that, I load that as a selection. Then I go back to my layers palette, and I simply go and make an adjustment layer for whatever I want to do. Maybe I want to do saturation. Okay, something like that. Oh, and I did not click the channels palette back again. I want to make sure I click my RGB like that. And then I'm going to go here and go up here and say hue saturation, and you see it's loaded that channel now as a mask, and now I can simply go in and make whatever adjustments I need to make, or however I want to do that. Now, to make the dark masks, let me throw this away. What we want to do, we want to go back into our channels palette. We want to click on the lights mask, and we want to load that as a selection. And then we want to do Shift, Command, I, or we want to invert that, and we want to save that as a selection. And save that as a channel. So there you go. There's our alpha here. And there's our lights mask, or sorry, our darks mask. So we're going to call this darks. And we do the same kind of thing as you did before. Okay. That's selected. You're going to then Shift, Option, Command, and you're going to click on that, and you're going to load that as a selection. Oops, like that. I think I did the same thing again, so I'm going to throw that away. Okay, let me do Command D. Let me load that as a selection. Shift, Option, Command. I'm going to click on that. You can see different areas now have been selected. I'll save that as a selection. And I'll call this the dark masks, like that. And again, make sure that's highlighted. Shift, Option, Command, click, like so. Oh, I keep doing the same thing there. Shift, Option, Command, click, and I'm going to click on that. And again, different ones are selected there. I'll save that. Okay, I'm going to call this the shadow darks. Okay, like so. And then again, Shift, Option, Command, click, and load that. I'll call this the super darks. Super's dark, no, just super darks, like so. And then one more time, Shift, Option, Command, click on that. Oop, same thing there. Let me try this again. Okay, I'm going to load that as a selection. Shift, Option, Command. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to save that. And this would be the ultra darks. Okay, so there you have your luminosity mask for different values. And again, you would go through and look at specific areas that you want to change, and then go ahead and apply, load that as a selection. Go into your layers palette, make an adjustment layer. It will load that channel now as a mask, and you can go ahead and make whatever varied type of adjustment you need to make. Now, another way you can do that and make these masks is you go and let's click the lights mask and let's load that as a selection. You can also just invert this by doing Shift Command I, okay, and then saving that, and you see you get the same thing here. Okay. So you can set up and do all your lights and then make your darks, and you have two ways you can go about doing that. So let me throw that away. So you'll find that these luminosity masks are going to be really incredibly powerful in your image adjustment. So again, let's go and look at one of these. Let's say I want to do something to the lights here, like I said, the super lights here. I'm going to load that, and I'm going to make sure I see my adjustments. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and let me again do a, let's see, hue and saturation on that. I did the same thing again. Okay, once you load that, you have to go back into your channels palette. Get this thing, there we go. Let me deselect that. Once you have that loaded, you need to go back into your RGB panel, hit it like that. Now you can go ahead and find a adjustment layer you want. So again, maybe I want to do hue saturation, something like that. So there's my hue saturation mask on there. Okay, and I'll go in there. I'll get rid of that. And I'll go to properties so I can see what I'm doing here. Let's see, I have that already selected. Let me do it again. Properties. Okay, oh, I had it on my other screen here, so I'm going to pull that over here. So there it is. So I'm going to go in here and I can just now simply, let's say I want to increase the saturation. I think you can see how it's subtle because again, you're masking here, you only have complete whites in some areas and a lot of really dark grays and blacks. So sometimes you have to make that adjustment relatively, you can see it now when I do this, you have to make kind of an aggressive adjustment on that. But you can see how it's just selecting that area right in here that was white on the mask. Now what's really powerful about this too is that the mask is self-feathering. So it's already set up what it's going to select and then drop off as that selection for that, whatever that channel is, the lights or the dark lights or whatever, the light lights, is going to, as that's going to drop off, it's going to automatically feather. So you get beautiful gradations and tones as you move through that mask. That's one of the other strengths about this, is it allows really nice gradations and subtleties between tones. That's hard to do if you're just trying to paint that on. Okay, so that's how we make luminosity masks, and that should be a really valuable and powerful and useful tool in your toolbox now.